Hello and welcome to this edition of Eat Right with Rouses. I'm your host, Keith Weissite, licensed clinical social worker. Thank you so much for joining me, as always, and we're so very glad to have joining us April Sens. How are you?
Hello, Keith. How are you doing?
I'm very, very well, thank you.
Good.
Very excited to be in Rouses, and even more excited that we're kind of moving forward with this. I love the fact that we're connecting these ideas about how to stay balanced.
You know, grocery shopping is fun.
Can be.
It really is. And that's what I want people to realize is that, you know, planning out what you're going to eat is going to help you walk through that grocery store and be able to feel confident to grab the things that you know you're going to feel good about eating when you get home.
Right.
And so a lot of times the grocery store is the first stop, like whenever you either trying to get healthy, you're trying to eat a little bit better, or if you get like a new diagnosis or something like that, grocery store is the first stop. So that's why it's so important to know what to grab and to know, know more about the products. Right. And so we're walking around Rouses today, and we are going to be talking all about grains and starches. And
grains and starches.
Yes. And so we talked about meat, we talked about produce, we talked about seafood, we talked about a lot of good things. But the grains and starches do get a little bit confusing for people sometimes.
Right.
There's a lot of confusion because we tend to eat a lot of grains and starches. And it used to be like, if you remember the old food guide pyramid, it was at the bottom of the pyramid and where it was like a ton of it. Now, the reason why it was at the bottom of the pyramid and had a lot is because we need grains and starches for energy. We need carbohydrates for energy. So we have to remember it's for energy. So we do need to move too. We need to move around. We need to use that energy as well. But choosing the right grains and starches is also a key. So we want to look for things that are less refined.
Okay.
So so it's not that we can't have things that are more refined, like something that's like our favorite crackers and things like that. But we want to look for things that have whole grains.
Okay.
So you want to look for the word whole grain in the ingredient list.
Okay.
So on the picture that I'm showing you, there is a word that's whole grain on the front of the box, but you can also turn the box on the side and you can look for the word whole grain.
Okay.
So what are some whole grains? Some whole wheat pasta is an example, some brown rice, oats, quinoa, rye, also farro. There's a lot of things, and typically you have to cook it a little bit longer because it's a whole grain. It's not already more processed.
Right. It's less processed than a lot of the others.
Yes. So the whole grain has more intact of the vitamins and nutrients in it than the more refined things. So it has like that germ and the endosperm and all those parts that provide fiber and vitamins that's inside of those grains. So it's okay to have both, but you want to make sure that you do have some more of those whole grains in there. So let me tell you a couple of things that's in the whole grain as well. So you have your dietary fiber, you have several B vitamins in there, you have minerals like iron, you have magnesium, you have selenium. So there's a lot of nutrition that's in there. So there's a lot of reasons to be able to use that, and you can incorporate that into any meal. So at breakfast, for example, why not grab a whole grain toast with your meal and have that with some fruit and avocado or something like that? At lunch, why not grab a whole grain, maybe it's a whole grain pasta with vegetables and your meat versus just a refined pasta. And Rouses has, in the Rouses brand, a whole grain pasta as well.
Right.
And then also, say at dinner, why not grab some of your brown rice? If you're not a big brown rice fan or not a big whole wheat pasta fan, what you can do is you can combine both of them. You can take your regular white one and take the brown one and then mix them together. And that will give you 50% more of your whole grains as well.
And a couple of things that are really important about that, just over the years as I've kind of really expanded my diet, my options, is that one is that the less processed food, the ones with the more grains in it, is so much more filling.
It is.
You eat so much less of it because it will fill you up, but it's also filling you up with something that's so very good and healthy for your system, your whole digestive system.
Yeah.
So it's a filler, but it's filling.
Yes, so that's because of that fiber in there.
Right.
So you're getting more satiety, means a feeling of fullness
Better
because of
satiation.
that. Yeah, because of that fiber that's in there.
Right.
And then combine that with some vegetables and then your lean meat, you're going to have a really satisfying meal. You know, a lot of people think to eat something that's better for them it's not going to taste as good, or they can't enjoy it as much. But when you combine all of these things, it's not about one food. It's about a combination of foods. So whenever you think about your plate, you want to think about how can I make this a combination of different food groups, not cutting out one food group, not only eating one food group, but that combination is really the key.
And the best thing about balance, like you mentioned, is share. Put a little white rice with the brown rice,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You know, if you've got something for your breakfast, you can do that. If you normally eat two pieces of toast, you share that, right? But find a way, and what you'll do is you're going to migrate towards the one that's a little better for you. It's more filling, it's better for you, and you're going to feel better.
Yeah.
And it makes it easier to shop, more fun to shop.
Absolutely.
And more knowledgeable about each of the different aisles, like we talked about with the fruits originally, and that area and the bakery, and now we move toward meat and fish, and now knowing how to master that aisle of the grains is a much better way to go about doing it.
And try something
Starches.
new.
Yeah. Always try something new.
Yeah.
I like it. What a great idea here in this new year. Trying things new, being healthier, and making it easier as we shop.
Yes. Thank you so much, Keith.
Thank you. All right. And that'll do it for this particular edition of Eat Right with Rouses. But don't go anywhere. A whole lot more right here on HTV.